ARCAS has been running for 30 years, so this will be the 31st year, 2020. It was established by four Guatemalans who had decided that they were sick of seeing their native animals being trafficked for the illegal pet trade, and so even though I had no idea about what to do with animals, they decided that they wanted to be part of it, and so they established ARCAS, and 30 years on, here we are. The main goal of ARCAS is to rehabilitate animals back into the wild. That is the 100% main goal. Most of our animals here are from the illegal pet trade, and so we've got over 650 animals, and the majority of them are from confiscated from people wanting to have them as pets, whether here in Guatemala or all around the world, because there's such a big demand for exotic pets, even though it's illegal in a lot of countries. And so sadly we receive quite a lot of them, but on the other side we're able to rehabilitate a big chunk of them as well and be able to put them back into the wild, and that's the main goal that we have. We obviously have smaller goals, which are education. Environmental education is a huge importance, because if there's no demand for exotic pets, then they'll be left alone in the forest where they belong.
I would like to have one conflict, but we have actually little bits of a lot. And I think that the biggest conflict that we have as an effort for conservation is the lack of education, is the lack of empathy from people, is the fact that people don't understand that these animals are part of the ecosystem that we share and that we're supposed to be together and working together to preserve it. And it's that lack of education of understanding that everything's linked. I think that's our biggest challenge, that's our biggest conflict, because as much as we help the animals, we need to be able to not be needed. And that will be the ultimate thing, but it's a conflict that I think is very difficult to resolve. Okay, so from an animal health perspective, it's a very wide variety of what we get, because we work with illegally trafficked animals and injured animals, so we never know what's going to come through the door. With birds, most likely it's an attempt of trapping them. So we see a lot of broken wings, we see a lot of injuries from blunt force trauma or projectiles, either guns, pellets, you name it. That usually happens. With mammals, there's a lot more of injuries by roads, by being hit by a car or being electrocuted, and they all present different challenges, and it's something that we need to be ready for, because again, we work with every species possible. That's tough, because I think that we do one of the things that I find personally a very intense pride in what we do is that we give everything possible to the animals that we are taking care for. So we give long hours, we give all the medicine, we give all the care that we can possibly give them, and there's no holding back. There is no, oh, we need to save this, we need to save that, but we try to, if the animal comes to the door here, it's because they got a second chance, and it's our responsibility to give them that second chance. So I find a lot of pride in being able to get that animal and give them everything, even if it's something that literature says it's not going to work. We give it a shot, and sometimes we have made very big success stories of animals that looked like they didn't have a shot, but they actually do, because we gave them that extra bit.
One of ARCAS, well, yeah, it will be. ARCAS's pride and joy would most definitely be the successful rehabilitation of scarlet macaws. So scarlet macaws, the population in Guatemala in the wild is less than 200. And so it's a hugely trafficked animal. It's a beautiful animal. Sadly, it's for those same reasons, a lot of people want to have one as a pet. And so the population in Guatemala has just been absolutely decimated. And so we've been working for over a decade of trying to get our macaws to be able to be released and rehabilitated. And so we use that macaws that have been confiscated from the illegal pet trade and are completely unreleasable because they're too used to people, they don't know how to fly, they can talk, and if they breed, we can release their offspring. And so we're very careful with how we interact with those offspring. Their parents raise them, we have very little to do with them, so they don't become too used to us. And we've been able to do behavioural studies on them prior to release. We have GPS collars on them so that we're able to track them after release to see if they survive, where they go, all that sort of things. And we monitor them for just under a year in most of the cases. That's how long the battery lasts. And we've been able to release them into National Park in Guatemala, where they were historically found but were no longer found anymore because their population got wiped out. So we did our first release in 2015, and that was definitely a highlight. It was the culmination of so many years' work and so many thousands of people, whether it was staff, whether it was volunteers, whether it was interns, all working towards this goal over the years. So that was just incredible to be able to see these endangered animals that were born in captivity from parents that were stolen from the wild to be able to be free again. And so that was just awesome. And we were able to do another release in 2018 as well. So 2015 we released 9. 2019, we released 13. And so when you've only got 200 individuals in the wild, that's a big chunk. And so we're currently still monitoring them and being able to see how they go. They're still staying in the same area. It means there's enough food, there's enough water, and hopefully we'll be able to do another release in 2 years. So it's very exciting, and undoubtedly ARCAS' pride and joy. There's lots of other smaller pride and joys, but that one's taken the most work and was such an important keystone animal as well. So it's pretty cool. ARCAS is constantly looking for volunteers. We have a volunteer program, and we have a lot of animals that need care for, all different ages at different parts of the rehabilitation process, and we desperately need volunteers. Our minimum time is a week. We don't have a maximum time, and it's a really unique situation here where anyone can come in. You don't need to have prior experience, and just learn about the animals, work with the animals, and be able to learn about how they get rehabilitated and can be part of getting them back into the wild again.
Volunteering with ARCAS was fantastic. They allow you to get hands-on with conservation, and right now I think conservation is one of the most important things. One of my favourite animals to work with was the Morlech crocodiles, and to a lot of people who were there, they were like, but they don't do anything. It doesn't matter to me. I love them. They're incredible and gorgeous animals. Work can be super tiring, especially in the heat of the day, but it's all worth it in the end. I highly recommend giving ARCAS a try, and believe me, you will come away with some stories and a lot of memories.